I am Aimee Meuwissen and I work for Venture Solutions. I grew up in Owatonna, Minnesota. My family was from Austin, Minnesota, so southern Minnesota, if anybody knows. We're from a printing industry family. And he started as a press operator. So in Owatonna, he worked for a company, and I still remember the smell of ink from Owatonna. That's something that I remember, but yep, I'm from Owatonna, Minnesota. It's my sister, myself, and then my parents, so it was just 4 of us. Very close family. I would say we were close growing up, a traditional family in the sense. My father worked his way up in a company, worked 3rd shift. My mom worked at the local Walmart, stocking. Many times we were latchkey kids, I would say. And that was normal. That was what it is. My father was a hardworking man. He missed a lot of our childhood because he was working. When we grew up and we started having children of our own, and I had my son when I was 17, so I didn't have an easy or take the traditional life. Of course, telling my father that news was not thrilling, to say the least. Immediately told me the checkbook is closed. Now we all know that once you have a grandchild, that no longer stands. But at that time, that's the way it was. And then I went through a few years of hard times where I found myself, I had cervical cancer at 19. I had my son, and my dad kind of pulled the family together in a sense at that time. And he taught me the ethics of work. He started his own business, and I worked for that business for 10 years. So we grew very, very close because we saw each other every day. He is the reason I am how I am in the professional realm. He was my biggest supporter, and he still is to this day. As I will tell him, this is what I'm going to do, and he says, go. And he says, you've got this. And to continue having that cheerleader through all of the heartache I put my parents through, and all of the heartache they saw me through, to still have that cheerleader at the end of the day. That's my father. And he is a man of integrity, a man for his family, his grandkids. I'm going to cry. My brother-in-law, who had passed at 30, he's still a man supporting and living by his word of his promises that he gave him. My father embodies what type of a father I wish my kids would have had. My mom's the glue that holds the whole family together. My mom not only was a mom, she turned into a grandma at an early age, and she held all of our kids, all 3 of mine. She ended up watching them while I was working. She allowed me to continue growing my career without having that village around with my troops. I couldn't have made anything work. My mom was the patience, where my dad taught me my work ethic. My mom taught me the prioritization of family. And at the end of the day, one line that I remember her saying to me when I became a mom, and she said, sometimes we make decisions that are better for our children, but they're not better for us, because we want better for our children than what we had. And it was something that stuck with me, because how selfless for that statement, and for her to have acted that way throughout her life. I could only hope to be the mom and grandma that she was, or that she is, because she still is. She's my best friend. We still talk several times a week. She's my best friend. It's the people you trust, the people that know without judgment, they'll be there for you. And it doesn't matter what that is. And they've proven it to me through everything. And family isn't just blood. There's a lot of other areas that are family. And family are the people that stand by you. Family are the people that you laugh with, that you cry with. That's family. My sister's husband passed when he was 30. He was also in the printing industry. And after that, and I at that time was already a single mom of 3, and we raised our 6 kids just together. They didn't have a cousin relationship. It's very sibling oriented. Oftentimes I say my sister was my baby daddy. When I was working, because I had the career, and schools do this thing, which is great, but they like to schedule programs in the middle of the day a lot of the time. Well, you can't go to everything as much as you would want to. And at that time, as much as I wanted to be there for them, I was a sole person that needed to pay for the bills and raise these children. So I didn't have an option to go and do all the activity stuff. My sister was my baby daddy. My sister took on that role. And as the kids got older, between her and I, we have different skill sets. I am better with the adultish children, where she might have been better with the younger children. So there's many times that her kids will still call me for advice, and then they kind of bounce each other. But yeah, my mom and sister are great. I'm very, very fortunate and lucky. It was before my 19th birthday when I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. Went through several radiation. Didn't think I'd be able to have kids again, surprise. And then I went into remission when I was 20. Nothing since, so I was one of the lucky ones. I was able to still have my children afterwards, but during that time I was sick. Definitely makes you think about life, but to be honest, I think I went numb for many years on it. It was, you say the words, you went by yourself to do all of this, but nobody really understood the fear of what you go through at that time, because being young, you hear the word cancer. It does not matter what type, what level, and your brain goes to the worst. So I became numb during that time period. And I think I was numb until my brother-in-law got sick, and I didn't understand why his cancer was taking him. It's different type, and why mine felt minute. And I think that's where I'm still at when people talk about it, is I put it somewhere else because I'm here and he's not. And how do I talk about something when I also saw the impact of someone so close to me? So I think, to be honest, I was numb then. I wouldn't change anything about the hard times, because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the strength I am today if it wasn't through all of that. I wouldn't. So I kind of see it all makes sense now, even though the road I took was very bumpy and the journey was not the easiest journey. I wouldn't change it. My son's 27. He is probably the smartest person I know. You can ask him anything about history, and he'll definitely know the answer, or think he knows the answer. He's great, and he's thriving. My middle daughter, she is 24. She's autistic, so she's on the spectrum. She taught me patience. I always say that she was brought to me for me to learn patience, because before that I had zero. But she is the most compassionate, adultish girl that I've ever met. She brings me joy because the small things still matter. She reminds me the small things still matter. My youngest, she's my mini-me. She's the one that scares me probably the most. She's the one that has mimicked my life at this point. Looks like me, talks like me, probably butts heads the most with because she is me. But she is my independent. She just goes and goes and goes. My children are everything. Yeah, they're great. Strength, joy, happiness, an easier road than I took. I want understanding for my middle child. I want the world to understand that being on the spectrum doesn't define you. I'm gonna cry. But it doesn't define you. And just because you're on the spectrum doesn't mean that that's your potential. And that's just what it is. And they're not doing things to frustrate you. So I want understanding for her. And my youngest, I want strength. Every one of our kids graduated with no additional kids. I will tell you that was a great accomplishment. My sister's kids, my kids, they all got through it. We had 6 of them. We are good there. I think when I look back though at my favorite joyous memories with my kids is we had a family seasonal campground, my parents did, down in Waterville. And those kids going out there, and that was our trips, that was our vacations, and going out there on those weekends and just seeing the kids interact with one another. Just have fun together at a water park. That's the best thing ever. I also remember that my son and my middle child, there was a day that it was cold outside, and they were both very bundled up like a movie walking together. So that's a joy, but it's really just that family time with them. There was one time that I liked everyone to dress up for the holidays. They don't let me do that anymore, just for the record. But there was an Easter that we had Easter in a hotel room because we were visiting family in Austin. And there's this great picture of all 3 of them dressed up, and they actually sat and took the picture with each other. That was also the weekend that my daughter will remind me, she found out there was no Easter bunny because I still wanted to have the tradition of the Easter basket, but there's not a lot of places to hide it in a hotel room. So I had to kick them out of the bathroom quick, and it was in the tub because where else are you going to hide it? But that was a good memory. That one's a good one. The road with Caitlin, she's my middle child, my daughter. I fought the school system, something that people don't realize a lot with when you're first undiagnosed with your child at first. When she was in preschool, we knew when she was young, she wasn't smiling and she wasn't behaving like you would believe a child would. So we knew that she was delayed in preschool screening. And we lived in one town at this time, and as she was growing up, they put her on an IEP. We did all of the things. I made the decision to move us to a different town, not understanding that different towns have different fundings and different programs within the schools. I believed that she would get the same support going to a different town. What I found was very disheartening, and fought with the school system every year, every quarter, to get her the help she needed, because I had her in mainstream classes and you could tell she's struggling. Even advocating on the playground, there was a time that I had shown up and my daughter's on the ground getting wood chips kicked at her, and she thought they're my friends, they're playing with me, because nobody knew. Like, people just thought, well, she's being stubborn or she's doing things. So I fought that school, and I fought the next school, and she didn't finally get the help until she was in 10th grade. It took me all those years to finally find the right people in the school system to listen. And this is after I took her for independent screening at Fraser's. At Fraser, she had the diagnosis. She went to the neurologist. The part of her brain was blacked out. Like, we did all of that. And the school system looked at me, and they actually told me, well, she's living up to her potential, so we're not going to give her any more programs. And living up to potential sometimes means that you're giving an autistic child a test that goes across a lot of different areas, but all that they care about is the final score. So my daughter scores very high on patterns. It's great, but that bumps her out of any help. So as long as she got D's, she was living up to her potential. And I fought the whole time. Once I found the help then in 10th grade, then I was able to continue getting that. So then she went to a transition program afterwards. Unfortunately, she got hit by the time of COVID. So when she was going through her graduation, which should have went into the transition program to teach her about life skills, bathing, working, balancing her stuff, she went to that program for 2 years, but it was during COVID. So she didn't get the on-site training at job sites. She didn't get a lot of that. So then I went to a different program. I think it was called Opportunity Works, to finally get her somebody that actually had connections into the work field and that would explain the situation. They have programs with them. That's how she got her job. And they went there for the first week and had her shadow them. They showed us how she can qualify for Metro Mobility so she can get around. But it took us over 20 years fighting and battling through the system to finally get her the support that she needs. And it's not perfect right now. It's still not. We're fortunate enough that we're in a situation where she can stay with us and we can help her. But the advocacy for the gray in special needs, it needs help. And my goal in life is to at some point be able to have the time to really truly advocate for that. It'll come someday. I'll have the time. But I hadn't in the past because I was too busy fighting for her. When you see anybody out in the world, and this is just a message to anybody, if you see somebody out in the world and you think maybe there's something wrong or there's something weird, stop thinking that way. Doesn't mean they're odd. Doesn't mean they're weird. It means they just want a friend. And if all of us take just a moment out of our days to say hello, or ask someone how they're doing, that could have been the highlight of their life. So take the time. That's all I ask for anybody. If you run into my daughter, somebody else's daughter, take the time. You don't have to be rushed. Right now and today, I'm good. And I feel like I'm at the cusp of it because I've seen where I am today and I know where I can go. And if I had the strength to endure all of that, and it's the alcoholism, it's the violence, it's being an advocate for my daughter, it's being an advocate for domestic violence, being a cancer survivor. If I had the strength to overcome all of that and raise my kids, because that's at the bottom of it, you want the best by them, even though you might have made some mistakes along the way, to see what I can do, the sky's the limit for me. And I truly believe that. You've only seen the beginning. And if I continue to be given the opportunities that I have, I've been very fortunate with mentors. If I am continue to get that, I just ask everybody to continue watching the ride. I never envisioned getting married again. I went every day, and anybody that knew me could have said, yep, she's never going to get married. I think just a few months in, I remember a conversation with my mom, and I said, I'm going to marry him. Or it might have been, if I'm ever going to get married, I'm going to marry him. My husband is amazing. He knows what's making me happy right now is the ability to have a true partner that lets me advance in my career. Right now, that is what's giving me fulfillment in life. So he takes care of everything else. And I don't have to worry about it. He's taking care of our daughter. He's taken them in as their own or as his own. He makes sure that I'm sensible, that I'm logical. When things get really tough and he just knows I need some rest, he's waking up with those dogs. I'm not. That man is the most patient man that I've ever met. And not only for myself and the kids, but for my family. My sister's children, he has taken them on and been happy to do it. I don't know a lot of humans that would do that. And the fact that he continues to show up every single day, even when he's having a bad day, but to truly show up for someone else selflessly, you can't give somebody enough credit for that. No words can describe my gratitude towards him. He's who I am. Plus, I have also told him that if he ever leaves, that he won't. So I have also told him that many times that there's not an option here. I am the stage 5 clinger now. So that's never happened. So there's got to be something to that. And happy endings are real. That's something else I will tell anybody is if you believe, your fairy tale it really comes true. But you have to believe. It doesn't come easy. What do I like about Taylor? I like the people at Taylor. The work that we do across all business units. It pulls at my heart. And that's not, it's all business units. The way that the collaboration is there and the vision of Taylor and the customers that I don't think people would know about the importance of the clients hold. We have some of the largest clients. And we still ask them about what do you need? What problem are you trying to solve? And then we get to take it back and problem solve for them and bring them that solution. Being able to deliver something that's tangible to clients and then to see it's not just our clients, but it's their customers as well that we get to impact on a daily. That's what I continue liking about Taylor. The opportunities that the Taylor brand has, the support in their employees. Throughout my career, I don't think that there's ever been such support as what I feel now at Taylor. It truly feels supportive. I no longer feel like I have to be scrappy and continue scratching my way to the top. I feel respected enough to know, you're right, I do deserve that seat. After having to be scrappy for so many years to just continually earn it. And that's a great feeling to know I can just be myself there. I don't have to continually earn it. Now, I do have to say, you can lose it as fast as you got anything in life. So you need to appreciate it. But I don't feel like I have to fight so hard anymore because my words matter and my voice matters. People have been amazing. And I know that my road and journey at Taylor has just started. As long as Taylor will have me, I'm going to continue riding that. I want to see the success. I want to see the transformation of Taylor when it gets into the digital era, right? That's exciting for me to see. The next generation coming up at Taylor, they're going to bring something completely different. That excites me because I've seen it where it's printing on offset presses, and now I get to see as it moves into digital. I'm in a great age. If I need solitude and just, I'm gonna zen out, I love to garden. Pulling weeds is the most satisfying thing, and your mind can go mindless as you're pulling those weeds. It is the best satisfaction. I know people think that I'm crazy, but I will be the first one out there pulling the weeds and getting really excited for that first tomato, and then taking that and canning it. It is a hobby of mine. I started years and years and years ago, and that is something I do for me and for myself. From a weekend standpoint, if I could have and think about like, what is the best weekend you could ever have to have fun? It would be renting a cabin and having all of our adult children and their significant others, animals, whatever it may be, just to get them all in one place for 4 days. Everyone grows up and we're all doing our own things, and life is so busy that you don't get that anymore. And that would be the perfect. Can't always get that. So what we normally do for fun is we're in our backyard. Our kids come over, we hang out by the fire just together as a family. And that brings me the biggest joy, is to see that. Making snacks, doing s'mores, just doing the small things. It's still what drives me. One thing that I always think about from a real recharging, and being in a second marriage and knowing that we have our daughter who's with us all the time, just a week with my husband and I, because you have to remember that you still need to connect with one another. Many people say, and I used to believe this, is at the end of the day, the person you're with, can you sit on a boat in the middle of a lake and just with the two of you? Because there's nothing else around. And if you can't, then that's not your person. Now I think it's our daughter and him. So just having some actual dedicated alone time. It didn't matter where it is, but no cell phones, no emails, no social media, because that's everywhere now. We're always on our phones scrolling. That's what I wish.